Waters, and I have a photo show up right now at Fabulosa Books. Many of the pictures were taken one night in December of 1985 at a show that was produced by Doris Fish and Philip R. Ford. This is an image that really grabs people. I had this up in a bar with a lot of my rock and roll photography.
Especially the way Doris, I think, is looking down.
Yeah.
Not quite facing the camera, and it has sort of
She's very pensive.
A little bit, yeah.
Of course, the world was in black and white back then. If it was color, we'd see, whatever, green or red hair. It was like a Christmas tree.
That's right, yeah. It's a red wig with a dove in it.
Yeah.
And then disco ball, Christmas ornament earrings.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And Tommy Pace was an amazing performer here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Betty Davis.
But Doris, what are you doing on national TV with that queer?
Tell me the story of when you first met Doris Fish.
I have to say, when I first met her, I had this impression that she didn't like me. But she did have a way of testing you for a couple of meetings, I would say. But once you got beyond that and you were just a little bit persistent, we were so much in the same circle that neither one of us was going anywhere. I got to become very close with her, and she really had a way, which I'm sure you've heard from other people, of making you feel really wonderful. I mean, she really would focus her energy on you in a way that I was telling somebody the other day, everybody who's ever met Bill Clinton, for instance, says that he's so
charisma,
such a magnetic personality that makes you feel like you're the only one in the room. And Doris very much had that. I mean, and so to be in her orbit and to have that energy focused on you, even when she got really sick late in life, it was remarkable. I mean, and it really made people want to be something.
She really encouraged people to sort of step into themselves. And
I think so, yeah.
Worked with. She recruited a lot of people. She really wanted to put the world in drag.
Absolutely. And that's why I, make the correlation between her and diet, because he kind of did the same thing in a much, more...
Well, he had a higher tolerance for poets than she did, probably.
Oh, right. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. There was so much crossover between the punk and sort of more traditionally gay community. I mean, everybody was all in it together, and in after-hours clubs, we were often in the same places, south of Market, coming in through a back door, going all night. I mean, it was drag and, leather people and punks.
So, actually, I think this is one of my favorite Freida Lay pictures. It's really good.
It's really good, and she's the most unknown of the Sluts A Go-Go,
right.
For sure. People don't know too much about her. She was often distracted by good drugs and bad men. So that would perhaps prevent her from actually showing up for performance. Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why we don't know that much about her.
Right.
But obviously she was beautiful. She's playing Jane Mansfield.
Oh, Jane, I'm so envious of your beautiful figure.
Yes, the human body is a beautiful thing. And I say, if you've got it, why not exploit it?
Well, Jane, that's what I always say too. Exploit it. But Jane, at this time of year, I'd really like to know, if you had 3 special wishes this Christmas, 3, what would you ask for?
Well, a handsome man to always love me and cuddle with me.
1, what's number 2?
Oh, that all of my fans will always remember me and love me.
That's a good one, I bet they will. And Jane, what's your third wish?
My third and most important wish is that all of my wishes come true.
Well, that's terribly sweet, Jane. I have a special wish, too. I wish we could sit here and talk with you a little longer.
Me too.
But I understand.
Well, speaking of gorgeous, here's Tippi and Sandel,
Yes.
looking as cute as can be.
Doris would introduce them and say, if you want to know what the choreography is, what the actual dance is supposed to be, watch Sandel. And if you want to see someone just like totally off book or whatever, if you want to see some craziness, watch Tippi. But
They thinned it out a little too. In the season opener, we had 3 dances, but the third dancer broke a heel and had to be shot. So tonight, please welcome Sandel and Tippi doing a wildly innovative and very serious piece entitled What the Thunder Said from the Barefoot Ballerina.
she really had, in many ways, reinvented herself when she came here or there was a persona that she liked to project of kind of a dizzy blonde. Mm-hmm. That was her thing. Mm-hmm. But her brother told a story about how she would watch the Art of French Cooking, the Julia Child shows, and she would recreate these meals for the family. And that she learned from just watching. She was, we know, a visual learner, that she couldn't really read, that she was pretty dyslexic. And so I was just rereading in Craig Seligman's book that Doris would videotape scenes for her in plays that she had to learn a script for, like The Bad Seed, and play it for her so that she didn't have to read from the book and memorize lines that way. So she was a visual learner. She could do anything. She would have thrived in the era of YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
She could
yeah.
do anything she could watch. But she never projected that image. I mean, she was just, demure and meek and mild and sort of like, like Good Night Gracie, kind of like, comedian. She
right.
was.
And then here's the fabulous Miss X.
Here is Miss X.
In a Christmas sweater, I think.
Yes.
I take it.
And she's playing Ronnie Spector here.
Romantic.
And the things he made me do.
Oh, you poor thing.
Oh, that man was a maniac. He was. I mean, he had to have a dog all the time, and he had to play this classical music through every fucking room in the house. And if that's not bad enough, he wouldn't let me read Cash Box or Billboard.
Read, you mean look at the pictures.
You're a very superior person for a hooker.
I am not a hooker.
Oh, yeah, what do you call it? Escort work? Listen, everybody knows about you. You are the biggest slut in San Francisco. I mean, is it true? Am I right? Come on. That's right. What I say is, don't be ashamed of it. Be proud of it. You know her.
Well, yes, I'm sure, but I think you must have me confused with some other Doris Fish. But I'm not going to argue with you after all. You are our guest on this show tonight.
So she definitely was around town doing different things. And she had met Freida in Los Angeles, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They both worked at a dirty bookstore.
They were working in a dirty movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was responsible for getting Freida up here to San Francisco, I think. Danielle was a friend from the Mabuhay Gardens where we spent, like 5 nights a week. And so it was before the term club kids, but that is what we were.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really like this photo because she's wearing probably a dress that was thrifted for, $1 or something. Right. And we very often dressed in the 50s clothing, sometimes 60s, because it was just so readily available.
Golden age of thrift shopping.
Yeah, and but we would mix it up. Like some nights we'd be very new wave, like some neon, really, Betsy Johnson type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And or we could be full dress leathers another night. So it was a great time for thrifting. Yes, and she just. Classically beautiful young woman.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. She's gorgeous. No, I think these were both taken at Mabuhay Gardens,
Okay.
I would guess. So up top there is Alvin, who is the owner of Fabulosa Books,
Mm-hmm.
and a friend of ours who I don't know too much about. He was my hairdresser for a while. So I just think it's always been a very Quentin Crisp image to me because of that hat that Alvin's wearing.
Absolutely.
And he does have such a sweet look on his face there, doesn't he? And then at the bottom is Gary Floyd, who just passed away recently. He was, he had a band called The Dicks and then another band called Sister Double Happiness. And and he was sort of floated between here and Austin. He was originally from Texas, I think. And he was, I think, really one of the founders of like the homocore rock and roll movement.
Some reflections on Doris and others.
Yeah, how these photos came to be. When you read through it, I mean, you'll notice such a, Doris is really running through it because of Vegas in Space, because Jennifer was in Vegas in Space, Timmy was in it, and did one of the songs for the soundtrack.
Well, Alvin is in the brand new dance video too.
Oh yeah, and Jennifer and Alvin met at Berkeley High, so they go back to high school.
Wow.
So you can read about diet quite a bit in Alvin's book Disasterama.
Disasterama, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Beautiful.
Yeah.